All right, so since we can use conditionals, we can use loopers. Yeah, the good old for loop. So let me explain this with an example. Let's say that we have an array of names, and of course we are going to be looping the names and displaying each name. So I'm going to do comma, I'm going to add a data property, and inside of data, I'm going to say names. And of course, it's going to be an array. We have Francis, of course, Francis. What else? We have Jane, comma, I'm going to add Jane. There we go, Jane. What else? Maybe Steve. All right. So now I want to loop from, of course, within the app right here, the list of names. Very simple. So for each iteration, for each round, I'm going to be displaying a paragraph with the actual value. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go to paragraph and I'm going to say, okay, we're going to use the before directive. So how is this is going to work? So this works just like a for loop inside of ES6. So for each name in names, don't worry, I'm going to explain you what's going on right here. We're going to display the name, right? Okay. So of course, if I reload the application, this works. So how is this working? So first we say that we want to loop, right? And on each iteration, we want to show a paragraph. That's why we get 3 different paragraphs, because we have 3 different values, right? So what we are going to be looping is the names. This is a reference to data names. So the for is going to loop with the names property, the values, right? Okay. So on each iteration, we need to display the name. On the first iteration, it goes, and we need to display Francis. So this one, it's equal to name, and this one, it's equal to this variable. This, it's name because we're using names. You could put whatever you want. You can say chicken. And if I say chicken right here, it's still going to be the name, right? This is going to work. Of course, if you're working with names, this one should be singular, name. If you're working with cars, this one should be car, right? All right. Okay, so really, really simple, right? So what happens, and this is actually something very common. What happens if you want to display the index of the iteration, right? Display the 0 round, then the 1, and then the 2, right? 0, 1, 2, which is the index. All right, so what you will need to do, you need to enclose everything, the first part of this, in parentheses, right? And the first argument inside of this parenthesis is name. And the second one, it's the index. That's where you can get the index. So now if I make a reference to the index, it makes sense that I do it before. Right here, I'm going to make a reference to index. And I'm going to use colon, but this is just HTML, right? It's not related to Vue.js. It's just a colon. Could use a slash, whatever. So if I reload the application, we get the index of the iteration, right? The 0 round, the first one, the 1, and the 2. Of course, we start at 0 because we are looping an array. All right, you know, very, very, very simple. Okay, so one more thing before we go to loop something else than an array. So right now, I'm looping this, and I'm showing the content right inside of this HTML tag. If I do something like this, for example, let me do it right here. It's not going to work. It's going to break. This is not the way we use it. You're not allowed to use this one, all right? So if you want to display something, for example, a paragraph, the paragraph needs to have the before and nothing in between of that and whatever is that you render, right? So what we can do is something like this. So maybe hello, you know, doesn't matter. I'm gonna reload and we get Francis, Jane, Steve, and then hello, all right? So that one is gonna work. That is good. But again, you should not use it just like this, all right? Always you need to output whatever it is that you want to output with nothing in between. So the best example I can give you with this, so it can make sense, is a list. For example, we have an unordered list, and inside of here, what we want to be adding dynamically is the LIs. All right. So instead of looping the the UL and then rendering an LI, what we will need to do is to loop the LI itself, right? So in this case, it's going to be LI. The before, it's pretty much the same. And on each iteration, we want to display it at the index and the name, right? So we do it just like this, and this works. We cannot just loop the other one. What happens if we loop the other one? I'm going to copy and paste it. Just ask yourself, what is going to happen? Okay, I'm going to reload the application, and we kind of get it, but we get 3 different ULs. We are looping the UL and not the LI. So the first UL contains the first name, the other one the second, and the other one the third. So this is not the way to do it. So we loop the LI. Now what happens if we want to loop an object? All right, we can do it. I'm going to comment this. I'm going to leave the names. I'm not going to use the names, of course, because this is an array. We need to add a proper object. So I'm going to say cars, right? So cars, open and close. So on each element, right, on each, we have a brand, I don't know, Ferrari, whatever, a brand, and we have a color. So this one is going to be red. And we have other ones, so comma, maybe add a third one. And this one is going to be, I don't know, Ford, and the color it's blue. All right, and let me make this right. Made a mistake right here. There we go. And the third one, it's going to be Chevy and, green. All right. So we have an object with 3 different elements, right? Okay. So what we want to do is to loop the cars and show each. Really, really simple. All right. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to use the same example in this one. I'm going to get a UL. And we're going to do the before, and we still want to show the name and the index. In this case, since we are going to be looping cars, we're going to say that we want to show a car. And this time, it's going to be inside cars. All right. We are still using the index, so that one is good. But the thing is that now we are looping an object. So we cannot just say name or maybe car, because car is going to be equal to the entire thing. So nothing is going to get rendered. So what I want to do, I want to show just the brand. So I'm going to say car, that brand, just like a regular object. And if we reload the application, we get Ferrari, Ford, Chevy, and I'm going to add the other ones just for fun. It's going to be color. All right, reload it, and we get it. It's really simple to loop things with Vue.js. Vue.js is really, really smart with this. Right, so before we move forward, I want to show you something else. I'm going to comment this one. We don't need it. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to be adding a user. So user, open and close. So this user has a name, which is, of course, Francis. Then a comma, it has a last name, which is Jones. Then a comma, and it has an age. And the age, it's, 25. That's good. So what we want to do is to loop this user, and within the UL, give an LI, which key, value, and index. Right? So pretty much we want to do the same thing. For example, 0, then first name, and then Francis. Last name, and then Jones. And then age, and 16. For example, or 25. So in ES5, for example, if you wanted to get the key, this value, and convert it to a string and show it on the iteration, you will need to create a function for this and go through a function. With Vue.js, there's no need to do it. So I'm going to uncomment, copy, and comment back. Sorry. I'm going to paste it. And I'm lazy, I know. And okay, UL and LI. I'm going to delete this. We don't need it right now. And I'm going to get rid of this. All right. So what do we want to loop? We want to loop the user. Right. So we say in, and now we need to tell what is the value of things. We are still going to use index, so we're going to use the parentheses, just like we did right here. So The first thing we have right here, because these are arguments, they have an order and we cannot alter the order. Of course you can, but it's gonna break right here. Not break, but you're gonna show it on a different place. So the first argument is the value. Whatever you get as value from each iteration, in this case Francis, Jones, and 25, is going to be inside of this, the first one, the value. The second one is going to be the key, name, last name, and age. And the third one, it's the index. So now you have the three things on each iteration. You have the index, so you could say index, then dash, you have the key, you can say key, and then a colon, and you have the value, and you can say value. And let me make this a little bit nicer. There we go, there we go, almost done. So for this, I'm gonna reload the application, and we get name, which is the name of the key, last name, Francis, Jones, and 25. I know that this is really dumb, but you will, I assure you that you will get to a point where you need to loop something like this, and you do need the name of the key. So this is, something that you're not going to use the whole time, but when you do, it's really, really helpful. All right, man. So everything good? Let's go to the next one.